The forward we should all be beelining for, and which two Man United players make my 9-player strong buyer's guide. Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you're all well. This is my buyer's guide, a new series on this channel. We're going to look at 3 defenders, 3 midfielders and 3 forwards that you might want to buy this week. If you're enjoying that idea and you're liking the show so far, do hit that like button, but also please do subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's talk about our 9 players. Guys, we are going to start with an obvious pick in each position, the alternative pick in each position, and a differential pick in each position as well. So look, without further ado, let's start with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, he came into FPL this year at 7 million, and maybe some buyers were a little bit cautious because in the last couple of years, he's not quite lived up to those dizzy heights. But on his day, we know Trent is the best FPL defender in the game by a country mile. It's why he was priced 8.5 last season. Big price reduction, he's going to get more clean sheets in this Liverpool defence. And when we look at the data from slot in years gone by, we know he's very good at keeping clean sheets. When we see Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp, it was end-to-end rock and roll football. They conceded a lot of chances, which is why Trent wasn't always the best sources for clean sheets, even if he was for attacking returns. The good chances are, at the weekend, the good points are, the weekend just gone, he looked really bright at Ipswich at Portman Road. He played 76 minutes. He created a couple of big chances. One was for Jota. Many of us own Trent and Jota. To see that miss was annoying. The Jota header. His expected assist was 1.0. Proper good number that. And Liverpool's XGC was the 3rd best in the game week joint. 0.45 expected goals conceded. Liverpool are looking quite good at the back, and I think that will continue. I think we're going to see loads of clean sheets. We're going to get attacking returns. He's going to start getting 90 minutes. Remember, this is only a second game back since the Euros. Trent is a very obvious buy this game week, and boy, is he worth the extra million on a Saliba, a Gabriel, or a Gvardiol. Now, sure, those guys all got clean sheets and look good, but you're going to get a lot of 6-pointers from those guys. Trent gives you that ceiling of a 10 or a 12-pointer each week. He's worth the extra million if you're going for that one premium setup. Let's look at an alternative option in defence, and a much cheaper option. Of course, this isn't always going to be like for like. An alternative option if you're buying, and many are selling, Quansah, for example. Well, let's talk about Anthony Robinson of Fulham. He's someone I looked at pre-season and thought, yeah, I like him. Now, when we look at the fixtures for Fulham, they're awesome. That 2 of the next 3 are at home. They've got a couple of newly promoted teams in there. They face Leicester at home this weekend. And I think Robinson is going to be a really good option for attacking returns. We can see here, sure, he wasn't quite as advanced as Tete down that right-hand side. On the left, Robinson. But look how much play comes his way. Calvin Bassey's the passer out the back, and he's always looking to Robinson, who then looks on to Iwobi or Smith Rowe. Robinson is used a lot. He gets a ton of touches to the point where just before Man United scored, like 80 minutes into the football match, Fulham versus Man United opening day, Robinson was on for 2 bonus points. Not only was he getting a clean sheet, he was getting 2 bonus points. He does really well in all those underlying statistics that build the bonus point system. Robinson's got creativity too. Definitely one to monitor. By the way, these charts we're using from between the posts are awesome. So I definitely like Robinson as an option, and I think Fulham are going to be quite solid at the back. And until Man United scored, actually, yeah, Bruno missed a couple of big chances, but Fulham didn't look bad at the back by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to move to the same fixture for an alternative proper differential. So we've got alternative Robinson to a differential defender in Mazraoui. Now, we can see his map. Again, the right-hand side, Diallo was used a lot. Mazraoui did well. But what's really interesting about this United shape is he'll probably be hugging the touchline quite a lot. We're going to see him quite wide, and we're going to, I think, see him quite high. I think assist threat is quite high for Mazraoui. The problem will be when Luke Shaw is back fit, does Diallo come to right back, or does Mazraoui keep his place? I think Mazraoui keeps his place. And when we look at these numbers, again, check out the Scout members area if you want to know more about the numbers. And there's a link in the description to the members area, and all the stats on today's show are from there. But we can see he got 80 minutes. He did get a couple of bonus points. Now, the reason Mazraoui got the bonus points, we're looking at tackles, interceptions, blocks, all that good stuff. Well, he got 3 interceptions. He got 2 tackles. He won all his duels. His duels were super impressive. He had 7 duels. some aerial, some on the ground. He won 6 of them. This is a competitive footballer that, yeah, he wins his duels, and we like that very much for the bonus point system. Mazraoui, I don't hate as an option. Now, he's 5% owned. He's 4.5 million. I think United are going to be way better at the back. Remember, we've still got De Ligt to come into this team. A back four of Lisandro Martinez, De Ligt, Luke Shaw at left back and Mazraoui at right back. Looks like a really good back four with Onana behind them. So let's see what comes forward with Man United. But I think we're going to see a much more solid defensive team. If you're enjoying the show, by the way, guys, do show your support by hitting the like button, but also subscribing. And also do check out OneFootball. They are the sponsor of this show. And guys, I use OneFootball on a daily basis. Now, this time of year, my favourite thing about the OneFootball app is, well, it's all the news pages, it's the gossip column, it's looking at data from fixtures, it's looking at the fixtures and video clips too. If you want to check out some goals and just a short video clips, the OneFootball app's brilliant for that. Now, the best thing about all of this, it's free. Many of you watching probably use OneFootball already. If you don't, there's a link in the description. I'm an affiliate there, so do go through the link and download the OneFootball app today. So let's move on to our midfielders. Many of you would have gone, yeah, we don't care too much about the defence, Gianni. We're not shopping there. We're shopping for midfielders and forwards. Well, if you are, let's talk about the obvious midfield buy. Diogo Jota, ladies and gents. I said this all pre-season and nothing's changed. His XG was 0.95. He obviously got his goal. He missed a big chance. Very big header from Trent that we spoke about earlier. The only thing that works against Jota is he's probably not going to be a 90-minute man. Because remember, there's very, very good options on that Liverpool bench. But for as long as he's the starting number 9, he's a very, very good option. Will he continue as the starting 9? Who knows? Darwin exists. Gakpo exists, but at the moment, it's Jota's spot to lose. Now, what Jota had was an amazing pre-season, and what Jota does, and we can see from this pass map, he's not only the most advanced player on the pitch, which helps. Sure, he's going to be in the box a lot, but he has a really good relationship with Mo Salah, and he looks to feed Mo Salah. Now, we can see his passing lines. Not much goes out from Jota, but he collects the ball, and every now and then he'll hit Salah on the break or he'll hit Diaz on the break, and he often will drop deep into those Harry Kane style positions. Diogo Jota playing up front for a well-functioning attack is a gift. He is a 7.5 million midfielder and he's still criminally underowned. Guys, consider getting Jota in your team sooner rather than later. It's Brentford at home this week. Again, I see points. On another day, Jota's on a 15-pointer against Ipswich. He was really good. He was really good. Let's talk about another very good asset at the weekend just gone, though, because Bruno. Bruno's not in that many teams, and I think he should be in a lot more. If you're looking for an 8.5 million mid, Bruno's way better than Odegaard, for example, as an FPL option this season, I think. He clocked a 1.19 XG. That is obscene. Like, no one's clocked higher XG this weekend than Bruno. 1.19 non-penalty XG. And the United formation, we saw this earlier, it's almost like a 4-2-4. So, yeah, the back four, 2 holders in Mino and Casemiro. And then that front line is like Mason Mount and Bruno just rotating to different false 9 positions and then the wide men. Now, this might not continue with Xerxes. You could have Xerxes instead of Mason Mount there. But one thing for sure is Bruno's going to be super advanced in the midfield of Mino, Casemiro and Bruno. He's going to be arriving in the box often. Now, Bruno missed a couple of big chances. That's why the data there, we've just seen 1.19 XG. Yeah, he missed a couple of really big chances. Good saves by Leno, to be fair. On another day, Bruno's walking away with 2 goals. And on another day, he will get them. Because Bruno's someone that often overperforms his XG. He outperforms it. He's a good finisher. He's a legit option, guys. Genuinely, I looked at it and went, yeah, Man United look better this season. And Bruno's their best player. He's their talisman. He's on penalties. But in open play, if he's this advanced every game, he's going to get points galore. Now, many will say, oh, Xerxes is going to come in and Bruno won't be false 9. He'll be deeper. He won't be much deeper because what Xerxes does, and trust me, I've watched a lot of Xerxes in Serie A, he drops very deep and he feeds others. He's not actually a goal scorer. I think his Bologna had an amazing season last year. They qualified for the Champions League. I think Xerxes got between 10 and 15 goals. Wasn't many. Like, he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. He's there to provide for others as a number 9. And actually, Bruno is going to be one of the best beneficiaries of that. So Bruno definitely should be on our radars. I'm really hot on him. I think he'll be one for me when our wildcard, he'll probably be in there. And then a differential midfielder. This is a player I actually own. But boy, did he look good against West Ham. And that was Morgan Rogers. Now, the best thing for me about not the best thing. One thing for me about Morgan Rogers was like, as an owner, I was looking for his minutes. Straight away, I wanted to know, okay, is Morgan Rogers going to be a minutes risk? Because loads of people have told me pre-season, oh, don't buy Morgan Rogers, his transfer out waiting to happen, blah, blah, blah. Well, he got 90 minutes, and I think that's really important. 90 minutes for Morgan Rogers shows me how much the manager wants him on the pitch. Now, he ended last season really well, but he had a really good pre-season. 3 goals, 2 assists in pre-season from around 400 minutes. And here we can see he's almost playing as a number 10. He's central. He's often the closest man to Ollie Watkins. He was getting in some very good attacking spaces. Now, come game week 3, the fixtures for Villa are insane. You're probably not going to find a better fixture run come game week 3. Villa will be top of all the tickers, right? Now, with that in mind, you'll be thinking, how do I get Ollie Watkins in my team? Now, sure, we might be here this time next week saying, let's sell Isak for Watkins or Haaland for Watkins or whatever. But you might just go, Morgan Rogers can maybe cover him is too strong because Watkins is Watkins, but he can help that shortfall of not owning Watkins. So Rogers should be on our radar. And for me, the best 5 million midfielder in the game. Now Oscar Bob has gone, of course. That's the reason why he made his way into my team in the first place. So we like Rogers very much, but let's talk about 3 forwards. We have to talk about, well, the obvious one. What I don't want to do with the obvious buy each week is to present you with the most obvious. Like, I didn't want to put Salah in the midfield. I didn't want to put an Arsenal defender at the back. I want to pick players that perhaps aren't 50, 60% owned. But for this 1 week, seeing as it's our first, and guys, if you're enjoying the idea of this new series, do drop a comment and let me know if this is the sort of show you'd like to see every start of the week. I'm certainly enjoyed putting it together, and I think it's hopefully really useful for you. But the obvious one this week is Erling Haaland, and that's because the fixture. Like, I think it'd be naive of me not to mention Erling Haaland. No, he's got Ipswich. What I would say is, if you don't own Erling Haaland and can't easily get to him, you've probably made your bed. Now ride that wave for a few weeks and probably don't rip up your team to buy him. Of course, if you can get to Haaland in one transfer, you get to Haaland in one transfer. Ipswich at home, he's going to be so highly effective owned. When he has been in this Premier League, and from August 2022, when he started playing for Man City in the Premier League, look at the other best goal scorers. Haaland's had 91 goals, Salah's had 56, Watkins 43. These are the best. Foden 42, Rashford 38. Guys, he outscores them by double, right? Erling Haaland is made of different stuff, and therefore he's such an obvious buy this week if you're looking and can afford him in an easy move. Don't rip up your team for him, though. I would say that. If you're enjoying the video, guys, do show your appreciation. I'd love some subscribers, knowing it's new in the season, and many of you would have stumbled across me for the first time. I also know about 40-50% of the people watching genuinely won't be subscribed. Now, half of those don't want to subscribe. That's absolutely fine. The other half of those people probably think they are subscribed, but you're not actually not. So just double check and hit that button for me. Thanks, guys. I do say guys a lot, though, so maybe one reason not to. I've got to work on that. Havertz. Let's talk about Havertz, because I think he's a proper nice alternative buy this week. And again, Havertz should probably have higher ownership. Like, Havertz is a quality option. If you watch my pre-season content, you'll know he was in my team a lot of pre-season. But I decided to go Solanke and save the 0.5. But for some reason, Havertz is under 15% owned. He ain't that popular. Now, when we bear in mind other Arsenal assets like, of course, Saka is at 30% plus, but Odegaard has higher ownership than Havertz. Havertz is cheaper than Odegaard. Havertz is a better FPL option than Odegaard, in my opinion. So what do we see at the weekend from Havertz? Well, 90 minutes, brilliant, because everyone's saying, oh, Jesus could play up front. Havertz is clearly the number 9 at that football club, guys. Make no doubt about it. If Jesus gets minutes, it might actually be on the left-hand side. We saw a goal and an assist. We saw an XG of 0.45. What I really like, though, is he's more than just a striker. Because of the positions he's played in the past, because of how good he is, he's a number 9 that will go and get 44 touches in a match. That's a lot of involvement. That helps the bonus points. He's a player that will create chances too. We saw his assist when he had 2 key passes. There's creative midfielders that don't notch 2 key passes in a game. Well, Havertz has just done that against Wolves. Definitely monitor his numbers. He's going to be super impressive this season. Kai Havertz, if you're shopping for that level forward, might just be the best option at 8 million. And then, of course, there's other options. And I could name more than 9 players each week. But what we're going to do is we're going to name 9 players each week. And at the start of each show, I'm going to bring up the 9 from last week and just bring up their total points. And be like, yeah, he did well. He did rubbish. He did all right. I think that'll be a little bit fun. And then we'll talk about my 9 suggestions. So my last and final suggestion this week is a guy that isn't fashionable. He's a guy that, well, he's a guy that many of you will look at and go, he didn't quite make the grade at Man United or Arsenal. That's Danny Wellbeck, right? So Danny Wellbeck, maybe Brighton's his level. Danny Wellbeck suffers from injuries, and Danny Wellbeck therefore never gets to 2,000 minutes in a Premier League season. When, the top players that are fit all the time are getting 2,500 minutes. Well, Wellbeck, if he gets 2,000 minutes and can stay fit, and maybe without European football he can for Brighton this year, if he continues as the leading number 9, Ferguson exists and they're being linked with other forwards, let's see. But at 5.5 million, he's playing for such a well-functioning team. Look at this from between the posts against Everton. Like, this is just a dominance map. This is just to show the XG total and how the game went. At no point in this game really were Brighton behind. Like, we see there 20 minutes into the game, they're kind of level pegging, and then Mitoma gets his goal. But then it's just sheer dominance. And I think Brighton, who only conceded 0.47 XG to Everton, who Everton at home, you expect them to score, and Everton at home, you expect them to be defensively sound. Under Sean Dyche, many of us owned a Pickford or a Mikalenko. Brighton just smashed 3 against them and clocked an XG of 1.82. Guys, there's so many exciting attackers. Minter, Mitoma, Wellbeck, Adingra. Now, many of us can't squeeze in one of those midfielders, and you've got to spend a little bit more to get a Mitoma. Minter's cheap. Welbeck's 5.5 million, and if João Pedro's not on the pitch, Welbeck will be on pens. Just one to monitor there. Just one to monitor. He's 2% owned, so a really nice differential option. And we've spoken about Rodgers at 9%, Mazraoui at 5%. Some of my alternative options like Havertz and Bruno and Robinson, they're not highly owned either. But if you really want to think outside the box, I don't hate Welbeck, and he plays his former team Man United at the weekend at home. I think Brighton could win that football match. I think Brighton might be the surprise package of the season. That's all we've got time for today, guys. Do check out lots of other content on this channel. Guys, I'm talking to an former England striker this week who loves FPL and is revealing his team exclusively live on this channel. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. Drop a comment if you've enjoyed the show. Hit the like button too, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another video. Bye-bye.